Alright, so on this worksheet, this is Unit 3B, Review Day Number 2. On the front side of this worksheet, the first two questions, A and B, these are just rote memorization questions. So it says, write the general forms of slope-intercept, point-slope, and standard form of the equation of a line. Remember, slope-intercept is nice because it tells you the slope and the intercept. So I have y equals mx plus b. Remember, m represents your slope, b represents your y-intercept. For point slope, it is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1 comma y1 is your point and m is your slope. Standard form is in the form of ax plus by equals c. B. Describe the slopes of parallel lines and describe the slopes of perpendicular lines. Remember, parallel lines have the same exact slope between the two equations, and your perpendicular lines, their slopes are what we call opposite reciprocals. Okay, so for the actual problems, problem number 1 says identify the slope and the y-intercept from the given equations of a line. So the first one they give you in y equals mx plus b form. So m is equal to negative 3/7. Your slope always comes in front of x. And your y-intercept in this case is 5/8. Notice in the second one it is in standard form, so if we want to find the slope and the y-intercept, we want to actually solve this equation for y. So I'm going to subtract 5x to both sides. And if I rewrite this equation, I have 7y equals negative 5x plus 21. Remember, you cannot combine these because they are not like terms. And now I just want to divide everything by 7 to get y by itself. So I have y equals negative 5 over 7 does not reduce, so that's negative 5/7 x. 21 over 7 reduces to 3. So if we are in the form of y equals mx plus b, your m is negative 5/7. Your b value is 3. Problem number 2. Here it says write the equation of a line given the following information. So notice they give you two graphs in this problem. In order to write the equation of a line, and again this does not say write it in slope-intercept form or in point-slope form, so they give you the option. So again, if it is slope-intercept, that's y equals mx plus b. Point-slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, if you have a preference like I do, I would prefer this one because it's easy to identify the y-intercept and you can just count to find your slope. So I know I have the equation y equals mx plus b. If I want to find the y-intercept, that is the easiest to find. So that is this point there. So I can erase this plus b and now put in negative 2 in that spot. For your slope, you just need to find another point where it intersects nicely. So remember, slope is rise over run, so I have to go down and to the right. I'm going down 2, to the right 2. So negative 2 over 2 reduces to negative 1 as a fraction. So I'm going to erase this m value and put negative 1 in its place. And my equation of a line is y equals negative 1x minus 2. For this next equation, our next graph in part B, notice you have a vertical line. Anytime that you have a vertical line, your slope is undefined. And again, vertical lines means that you're going to have x equals some number. Well, that number is wherever it crosses the x-axis. So in this case, crosses at 5. So x is equal to 5. So this is my equation of the line. Problem number 3 says write the equation of the line given the following information. Again, left open-ended for you. So you have a couple of options here. Slope-intercept form or point-slope. So if we're going to write it in point-slope form, you need to know the slope and a point. So since I know both, I am going to go ahead and substitute that in. I know that the slope, or m, is equal to 5, so I'm going to get rid of the m and put 5 in its place. This is an x value and a y value, so I can replace x with -2. So that is take away a negative and replace y1 with what y is equal to, in this case 1. And now I'm just going to clean it up a bit. So I get y minus 1 equals 5 times the quantity of x, and that becomes plus. So x plus 2. And this is my equation in point-slope form. Now if you wanted to take it one step further, by the way, this answer is acceptable. The next step to put it in slope-intercept, y minus 1 equals distribute, so that would be 5x. 5 times 2 is positive 10. And now I want to add 1 to both sides. So y is equal to 5x plus 11. This would be your answer in slope-intercept form. Again, this answer is acceptable because it said just write the equation. Notice in the next problem here, they just give us 2 points, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to calculate the slope. Remember, that is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So I have an x1 value, a y1, x2, y2, and now I'm just going to substitute in. Remember, you're always going to have division, you're always going to have subtraction, so now substitute in. y2 is positive 3, y1 is positive 5, x2 is negative 4, x1 is negative 6, so you end up taking away a negative, which then turns that positive. So I have 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. Negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2. Negative 2 divided by 2, my slope here is equal to negative 1. Now I can plug into point slope, so that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I know m is equal to negative 1, so get rid of m, put negative 1 in its place, and then from here you're going to select either of the 2 points. I like the one with the smaller numbers, so I'm going to use negative 4, 3. So my x value is negative 4, so that ends up being taking away a negative 4. Your y value is positive 3, so that's taking away 3. Clean it up a little bit, you get y minus 3 equals negative 1 times x, and that becomes plus 4. And this is your solution. In problem number 4, it says convert the following equations to slope-intercept form. So in slope-intercept form, that is y equals mx plus b. Currently, as we see this is in point slope. So first thing you want to do is distribute to get rid of the parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. Positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times 2 is 6. And you still have y plus 4 out front. From here, subtract 4 to both sides, and you get y equals 3x minus 10. That is your solution in slope-intercept form. Notice this next problem is in standard form. So if you want to get it in slope-intercept form, notice y is by itself. So I want to add 4x to both sides. So you get 2y equals 4x plus 16. You cannot combine 4x and 16 because they both do not have a variable. Now to get y by itself, divide by 2, so that is eliminated. And reduce your fraction. 4 over 2 is 2 with an x. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So y equals 2x plus 8. Problem number 5 wants you to convert the following equations to standard form, which remember is ax plus by equals c. A couple things about a. A cannot be a fraction. Also, a cannot be a negative number. So if it's a fraction, we're going to multiply everything by the denominator. If it is negative, we'd multiply everything by negative 1. So the first thing I want to do, this is in point slope form. So I want to distribute. So I get y minus 2. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. And now I want to solve this for y. So I would add 2 to both sides. So I get y equals 3x plus 14. Now we have to ask the question, are x and y on the same side of the equation like in standard form? The answer is no, so I would subtract 3x to get x and y on the same side. So I have negative 3x plus y equals 14. Now if you remember from what we said earlier, a cannot be a negative number. This is our a value. It is negative. So I'm going to multiply here everything by negative 1. Negative times a negative is positive. Negative times a positive is negative. So this becomes negative y. And a negative times a positive becomes negative, so that's negative 14. A is not negative, not a fraction. This is written in correct standard form. For the next one, notice there is no intercept. That would be plus 0, which we don't write. X and y are not on the same side, so I'm going to need to put x on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 3 halves x to both sides of the equal sign. And if I rewrite this, I get negative 3 halves x plus y equals 0, because there's nothing left on the right side since those are eliminated. Now, if you recall from earlier, a cannot be a fraction, which it is, and a cannot be negative. So I'm actually going to multiply everything here by the denominator and by a negative. So I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2. When you take negative 2 and you multiply this fraction, a negative times a negative, positive, this 2 and the denominator cancel out, so I'm left with positive 3x. Negative 2 times positive y is negative 2y. And then finally, negative 2 times 0, well, anything times 0 is still 0. A is not negative, not a fraction. So here is our solution in correct standard form.